Towards the climax of the Lord of the Rings movies, in The Return of the King, occurs one of the biggest deviations from the Lord of the Rings books in the entire movie trilogy. That deviation, of course, being the fight between Sam and Frodo and the parting of Sam. This not only never happened in the books, but is directly contradictory to Tolkien's intentions regarding both the characters and their friendship. In order to understand why, let us first see what happened in the movie. In the Return of the King movie, we see our heroes climb the stairs of Cirith Ungol, a secret path shown to them by the devious Gollum. Although there have already been a number of divergences to get to this point, such as their interaction with Faramir, we can look over that and say that so far so good. Our characters are on their way to Mount Doom and are finally about to enter the land of Mordor. From the start, Sam had never been trustful of Gollum, though Frodo had opted to act more leniently towards the creature, perhaps due to pity or his hope that Gollum or Smeagol can finally be redeemed and truly help them. This tense dynamic between them was further exacerbated with every step closer to Mount Doom, as the One Ring's grip on Frodo was getting ever stronger, while the hobbits themselves ever weaker. Gollum, wishing to take back the ring from Frodo, takes advantage of the increasing tension and uses the opportunity to frame Samwise with eating all of their remaining elven bread and therefore the last of their supplies. He simply covers Sam with crumbs, throws the rest of the lembas over the cliff, and promptly shows Frodo Sam's apparent crime. Sam reasonably gets upset at Gollum and attacks him, which prompts the weakened Frodo to defend the creature. Seeing Frodo's weakened state soon thereafter, Sam makes the suggestion that he carry the burden of the ring for a little while, and at this, Frodo is enraged. He sides with Gollum and orders Sam to leave them and return home to the Shire. And thus, for a little while at least, the two go their separate ways, until Sam discovers the bread at the base of the mountain and heads back up to Frodo and eventually saves him from Shelob. Now, there are a number of reasons why this whole scene and plotline is not particularly good, and in my opinion, may even be the worst change made to the source material. Let us start with the logical reasons. In the movies, we have a Frodo who chooses to believe a known evil creature that he has been repeatedly warned about over his best friend, with whom he has traveled thousands of miles. Not only that, but he then sends that friend away to go all the way back by himself, all in his lonesome, even though he knows for a fact that Sam isn't particularly good at any survival skills. He doesn't fight, he makes mistakes, he's not very quick, either physically or intellectually. And as far as Frodo is concerned, there's no food left. Now this is quite fine for him, as he doesn't think he'll come back from Mount Doom, but what about Samwise? How does Frodo expect Sam to return to the Shire when he tells him to go back? Now at this point, you could make the argument that the ring has clouded Frodo's mind to such an extent at this point, and in such proximity to Mordor, that it essentially takes over, and is the sole reason why he sends Sam away. After all, in that scene, it does seem like the mention of Sam taking the ring is what sends Frodo over the edge. The problem with that is that it isn't how the ring is supposed to work, at least not when it came to the two of them, and it isn't what Tolkien intended. In the books, remember that Sam does gain possession of the ring for a moment before surrendering it back to Frodo. At any rate, even if we accept movie Frodo's insanity, how do we reconcile movie Sam actually agreeing to leave and starting to climb down the mountain? While Frodo seems to have sided with Gollum, Sam knows for a fact that he was framed, and that therefore Gollum is a great danger to Frodo. And thus, my conclusions, without getting into the books at all yet, is that it makes little sense for Frodo to believe Gollum, for Frodo to send Sam into the wilderness alone without food, and most importantly, for Sam to abandon Frodo with Gollum even though he knows the truth. The whole point of this scene was to add drama and friction to an otherwise frictionless relationship, with the purpose of a heroic reconciliation later on in Shelob's lair. Ultimately though, the fight felt intellectually cheap, and it did nothing to contribute to the character of Gollum/Smeagol either, as it was made crystal clear which one of the two alter egos was winning. And naturally, to top it all off, when Sam gets down the stairs, he crushes the remaining and very vital to their survival bread, and then essentially teleports back up the stairs in time to save Frodo. Having said this, let us now look at what happened in the books, and what Tolkien's thoughts were on our two characters. In the Two Towers, which is when the Shelob incident actually took place as opposed to the Return of the King, Frodo and Sam go into Shelob's lair together, as they have not been separated yet like in the movies. Where they are separated is within the lair itself, as at some point Sam finds himself behind Frodo and attacked by Gollum, which slowed him down and led to the pair's separation. Frodo is attacked by Shelob, and by the time Sam manages to fight Gollum off and send him scattering, he finds a Frodo that he thinks is dead. Thus, he takes the One Ring and vows to finish the mission by himself. Eventually, he realizes that Frodo is alive and manages to save him quite spectacularly before giving him back the One Ring. In this version, Sam and Frodo not only remain faithful to themselves, but Gollum acts more logically as well. In the books, Gollum was infinitely milder, for a lack of a better term, than in the movies, and is able to suddenly and swiftly attack Sam from behind, whereas in the movies, he has been particularly antagonistic all throughout, with the obvious framing of Samwise being the cherry on top. The movie plotline being worse than the books, however, at least in my opinion, is nothing next to what Tolkien himself wanted the friendship of Frodo and Sam to be. Their relationship, their brotherhood, is meant to be pure, good. Their bond contrasts the corruption and the evil of the world, and it is only such a humble and selfless bond that is able to carry the burden of the One Ring to the very fires of doom. Even though the ring mostly lies with Frodo, it is both of them that carry the burden, as Sam is always there to help Frodo, and at what point carry both him and by extension the One Ring on his shoulders. In the books, at the very thought that Frodo may have died, "Master, dear master," he said, but Frodo did not speak. As he had run forward, eager, rejoicing to be free, Shelob with hideous speed had come behind him and with one swift stroke had stung him in the neck. He lay now pale and heard no voice, and did not move. "Master, dear master," said Sam, and through a long silence waited, listening in vain. Then, as quickly as he could, he cut away the binding cords and laid his head upon Frodo's breast and to his mouth, but no stir of life could he find, nor feel the faintest flutter of the heart. Often he chafed his master's hands and feet, he touched his brow, but all were cold. "Frodo, Mr. Frodo," he called, "don't leave me here alone, it's your Sam calling. Don't go where I can't follow. Wake up, Mr. Frodo. Oh, wake up, Frodo, me dear, wake up." "Don't go where I can't follow" is who Sam as a character is, and this is precisely why the scene from the movie is, I think, unrecognizable from the perspective of the books, and exists simply as artificial Hollywood drama, to the detriment of otherwise great movies. In the books, as Sam is finally ready to leave what he thinks is the body of Frodo behind, he is still unable to. But he could not go, not yet. He knelt and held Frodo's hand and could not release it. And time went by and he still knelt, holding his master's hand, and in his heart keeping a debate. Now he tried to find strength to tear himself away and go on a lonely journey for vengeance. Even if you were to ignore all of the logical arguments I made from Frodo's perspective, and even if you suspend disbelief regarding the corruption of the ring, movie Sam's reaction to Frodo cannot be reconciled with Tolkien's vision. More so than that, it is antithetical. What makes this even worse is that movie Sam is otherwise very faithful to his book counterpart and his themes. Before, he nearly drowns to join Frodo after he leaves the Fellowship, and afterwards he carries him to Mount Doom himself. Thus, this whole encounter is rendered completely out of place and out of character. A massive thank you to my channel members, and thank you very much for watching.